Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Graphic Novels, CGN Live. My name is Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics, and I'm in a little makeshift soundproof studio. We have some remodeling happening here. If you're in the chat, say hello, please. Thank you for joining me. But yes, this is CGN Live. CheapGraphicNovels.com is the website you want to go to buy all of your comics and graphic novels. It's the best place to buy them. Make sure you follow us on social media at CheapGN on Instagram or Twitter. And you can search for us on Facebook at Cheap Graphic Novels. We do the show live every week, typically Thursday at noonish Eastern Time. And every week we go over the comic books and graphic novels that we'll have on sale the following Monday. Because Monday evening is whenever we start selling our comics and graphic novels, so we can start shipping them out to you right away. And you want to make sure you follow us on social media, because I always make a post about the minute that they're on sale on Monday evenings, so you know when you can grab them. Thank you again for joining me. If you're in the chat, say hello, please. Let me know how you're doing. And oh yeah, the last plug, our newsletter. We have a weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday afternoon. So make sure you subscribe to that. If you go on the front page of cheapgraphicnovels.com, scroll down to the bottom, type in your email address, and hit subscribe. You'll get a confirmation email. Make sure you go to your email, your inbox, and confirm that. You might want to check your spam folder too, just in case. It might have gotten there, but I think we've got that fixed. I think typically they've been going into the inbox. But yes, if you're in the chat, say hello, please. Let me know what's going on, how you're doing, what comics you've been reading lately. Lately, I actually read two great comics this week. While I'm getting the website ready here, I'll tell you about them. The first one was Fake Red, which is the Spider-Man manga that just came out, and it was fantastic. It was the best Spider-Man comic I've read that's come out in the last, I don't know, 20 years or so. And I haven't kept up on a lot of Spider-Man, so it's a little preface there. Is that I don't think I'm the voice to be talking about modern Spider-Man. I've kind of kept away from that. I love the Spider-Man character, but as far as ongoing continuity, I think it's the classic stuff I appreciate the most. But Fake Red was great. It's a manga. It's all one and done story. The manga, which I think was Yusuke Ikawa, did say that he would like to do more, but it's all dependent on the sales of this one. So if you have not picked that up, I highly recommend it. It's a great Spider-Man story. It's just classic superheroism, classic teenage angst, teenage problems, melodrama, that sort of thing that you grow to appreciate from a good Spider-Man comic. The other one I read was The Twilight Man, which was by Humanoids, and it's about Rod Serling and Corin Shadmi, I think is the name of the cartoonist that does that one. Also a great comic book. So they're both really great comic books. One of them I end up on my top 10 list by the end of the year of books I read, but I'm not sure. But let me know in the chat what you've been reading lately. I always like to talk comics in general, but especially what you guys have been reading lately. Maybe there's something I haven't had my eye on that I need to check out. But I am going to go ahead and go over the books that are coming out on Monday. We have a long list today, 54 books. Lately, it's been 30 to 38, I think, has been the number we've had lately. But today it's 54, so I don't want to hesitate too long on the preamble here to get into these books. But a lot of great books, too. A lot of big omnibuses and stuff, but a lot of stuff from Fantagraphics, which is my favorite publisher, that I love to talk about. So let's dive in. This first one is Green Lantern Corps by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. Tomasi and Gleason have had a lot of omnibuses they've released of their content they worked on together. They're one of the biggest duo collaborators in DC Comics. They're like the the Brubaker and Phillips of DC Comics in terms of how prolific they are. We have like the Super Sons Omnibus that came out by them, Superman. We have the Batman and Robin, yeah, by Gleason and Tomasi. And then recently we just got the Peter J. Tomasi Detective Comics Omnibus that came out, I think, last week or the week before. So Tomasi himself has a lot, but specifically Tomasi and Gleason. This one's going to be $89.99 if you shop with CGN. Be 40% off. The contents here, I think, it's the latest that we have as far as the content goes. I don't know that I've seen anybody confirm that these contents are accurate based on opening a copy up. You might have to wait till next week to see that, because I know there's some things that people wanted added in here, specifically Green Lantern Corps 4, 5, and 6, I think it was, because it includes Green Lantern Corps 1 through 3, Green Lantern Corps, 1 through 3, and then 7 through 38, as well as some other stuff. So, and this run is concurrently to be read while you're reading Jeff Johns' Green Lantern omnibuses. I think this starts with Omnibus Volume 1 and bleeds into Volume 2, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a great companion omnibus to those. Hey, thank you, Coley. Nice to see you, my man. How you doing? I know you recently celebrated a birthday, so happy belated birthday. Up next, we have a Marvel omnibus. This one is Miles Morales, Spider-Man by Saladin Ahmed. This is ostensibly, it's not labeled as such, but ostensibly it is the Volume 3 of Miles Morales Spider-Man omnibuses. This takes place directly after the newly titled Volume 1 and Volume 2. They just recently reprinted those and labeled them as Volume 1 and Volume 2. This one takes place directly after it, written by Saladin Ahmed, and it'll be $74.99 if you order through CGN. This is the direct market variant cover that we're looking at here by Clark. And then I'll show you the standard edition cover by Souza. That's that one. And just a little heads up, the DM or direct market or exclusive DM cover, however you see that worded, that just means it's exclusive to comic book shops. That's what the direct market is by name. And then the standard edition will be available at all your bookstores and comic book shops. So Barnes & Noble, Amazon, that kind of thing. But you want to order through us because we will have it for 40% off. Then we have the Phantom Complete Dailies, Volume 29, including the years 1980 through 1982. This will be $47.99. That's by Hermes Press. Then we have Fantastic Four, Marvel Masterworks, Volume 25. This is the John Byrne era. This is deep into the John Byrne era. Yeah, because it includes Thing issues 19 and 23. That's really deep into the John Byrne era. I'm trying to see. Plus is unfinished Last Galactic. This might be the last John Byrne Fantastic Four Marvel Masterworks. I can't remember what issue his ended on, but this does include the Last Galactus story, which unfortunately was unfinished by John Byrne. I wish he'd go back to do that. But this is the Volume 25 of the Marvel Masterworks, and the direct market variant cover that we're looking at here will have Volume 347 on the spine, because that is the 347th of all of the Marvel Masterworks that have come out. And then the standard edition cover, which I will pull up here, will just have Volume 25 on the spine, because these are just if you're collecting only Fantastic Four. But no matter which cover you buy, they'll be $44.99, 40% off. We have a Marvel Remasterworks. This is the Avengers Volume 1. Same deal. We have both covers here. These are the Remasterworks, though. This is the same Avengers Volume 1 Marvel Masterworks that's been previously released years and years and years ago. I believe in the late 80s, early 90s. But this has been remastered with new files, whether Corey Settlemeyer and team found some like more original art pieces to use to clean up the line work and whatnot. But these are the Remasterworks. This is the most beautiful presentation that Marvel can promise you'll read these comic books in, and includes the first 10 issues of Avengers, which, on a personal note, Avengers issue number 4 is one of my all-time favorite comic books. Single issues. That's the one where they thaw out Captain America. It's a great Jack Kirby issue. Then we have a book from Tomorrow's Publishing. This is the hardcover. Best of Simon and the aforementioned Kirby's mainline comics. $39.95. It'll be 20% off. And Tomorrow's Publishing does a lot of great historic comic books. Like they do some like coffee table books. They have magazines out too, like Alter Ego, The Kirby Collector, those sorts of things. But these hardcovers, whenever they do these, are great combination of like essays and stuff, but also comics on the inside. And this one includes a lot of comics from Kirby, I believe, from the time in between DC and Marvel, between the time that Jack Kirby was doing Challengers of the Unknown and before he goes back to Marvel to do Fantastic Four. So that'd be really great stuff to read. Low Compendium. So Rick Remender's been pumping out these. He's been pumping out oversized deluxe editions, which are like the size of like absolutes, which people will colloquially I can't talk today, call Remender sized. But also he's been putting a lot of his content out in compendiums, which are those thick trade paperbacks, which are standard size, same size as your typical comic book. And this one includes all of this entire series of Low, the brand new cover just for this collection. It'll be $34.99 if you order through CGN, and includes all 26 issues. Then we have Witchblade. We have two versions of this week. We have a hardcover and a softcover. This is the complete Witchblade Volume 3. This is the Top Cow release through Image Comics. But we have David Wall on writing and Francis Manapul listed as an artist on this. This is early Francis Manapul, who's become one of my favorite superhero artists, particularly for his Flash run that I just recently read. Just amazing work. But this will include about 20 issues of Witchblade, as well as the Destiny's Child miniseries and the Witchblade Lady Death #1. So the hardcover will be $34.99 if you order through CGN. I'm going to go and skip down to the soft cover, if I can find it. It's all the way down here. There it is. The soft cover, though, will be $20.99. Literally no difference to these besides one's soft cover and one's hardcover. The cover itself and the contents are exactly the same, and the page size is exactly the same. So it's really just dependent on if you prefer hardcover or softcover, and the price that you're willing to pay, I guess, too. So that was Witchblade. Then we have two Avengers Epic collections. So it's a big Avengers week this week. The first one is Avengers Epic Collection, The Gathering, for $29.99. It's a brand new Epic collection. It includes the Bob Harris era of Avengers. I think people often refer to this as the leather jacket years, but it'll be Avengers 367 through 377. Then we have a big reprint. This one, like when it was first printed, it came and went. Like it definitely disappeared rapidly soon after it was printed, but it's $29.99. Includes Avengers issues 77 through 97. It's called This Beachhead Earth, but it really includes the important thing is it includes the entirety of the Kree Skrull War, which has awesome artwork by Neil Adams. And I think Omar from New York Edition talked to David Gabriel about naming this the Kree Skrull War instead of This Beachhead Earth. But David Gabriel said they already have so many collections with the titles Kree Skrull War that he wanted to have a different title for this one. But it does include the entirety of that story. Here's a book I cannot wait to pick up. Lobster Johnson Omnibus Volume 2 hardcover. So this will be the second and the final Lobster Johnson Omnibus, unless there's more content made later. But these are standard size hardcovers, but there's 2 volumes here. And let me know in the chat if you want me to look up if we have any certain books in stock. Like for instance, like volume 1 of this, if you want me to check if we have that in stock, I don't mind doing that. Just let me know in the chat. But it'll be 30% off and $27.99 if you order through CGN. Then another Dark Horse release. This one from Matt Kent's Flux House imprint that he has with Dark Horse. Matt Kent is the writer and the artist. Charlene Kent is the colorist. That's Matt's wife. But this is Spy Superb hardcover. And this is a continuation of the Super Spy series, if you've ever read that. But I love this description. And it's how I describe Matt Kent's work too. But it's John Wick meets Wes Anderson in this mystery thriller about a secret organization. Wes Anderson is definitely, I mean, he's one of my favorite directors of all time. I love all of his movies. But Matt Kent's work definitely evokes some Wes Anderson aspects to it. The way that the characters are and the dialogue and the way the scenes are. And I just recently found out that Matt Kent actually is a big Wes Anderson fan, so it makes sense. But this will be $27.99, 30% off the cover price if you order through CGN. Lobster is like 50s Captain America. Yeah, I would say that, but also I would add it seems to have a lot of influences from the Batman the Animated Series. Like I feel like that kind of pulpy, dark, muted tones. It reminded me a lot of early Batman in the Animated Series, but it is more violent though too. Like just like Hellboy. Like it's definitely for like teens plus, I guess. I mean, parents at your discretion, you can read it and see if your kids can tolerate any sort of the violence. It's not like super bloody violent, but it is violent. It's not. I'm only saying that because I don't. When I say it's compared to Batman the Animated Series, I don't want people to think that like, oh, so it's like for kids. I just mean like the art aspects to it. Iron Man, infamous Iron Man by Bendis and Malieve. So Bendis and Malieve, they worked on Daredevil together, and then they also worked on infamous Iron Man, which you can see is not Tony Stark Iron Man, based on the cover there. But this is like a complete collection, and it's $26.99 for this, and includes Invincible Iron Man 593 through 600, as well as Infamous Iron Man 1 through 12. So you're looking at about 20 issues there, packed into this thick trade paperback. Abolition Man, or Abolition of Man. So this is a super interesting book. It's put out by Living the Line. Carson Grubaugh is the writer, and then the artist is Midjourney AI. So that's going to already evoke some sort of controversy. But this is pitched as the first ever comic book made entirely by AI. This was released in single issues as late as like last year, early this year. This hardcover collects all of it, and it's going to be $26.25 if you order through CGN. But it's all 5 issues, and it was entirely done by AI and Carson Grubaugh, I guess, editing it. It's definitely an interesting experiment. As far as AI goes, I'm on the AI and art goes. I'm on the side of I kind of hate it. I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of stealing from other artists to make art. I don't like the idea of people being lazy and making money off of it. With that said, though, Abolition of Man, I think, was a interesting experiment in comics that Carson Grubaugh did, where he even had Dave McKean's blessing, which Dave McKean is an incredible artist. And it was like an experimental comic book. And I love that. I love anytime someone's taking the comic book medium and pushing it to its limits and doing new things with it and trying new things. So I'm super interested in it, but I'm also nervous about the future of AI in comics. And not that I think this is going to explode the market of AI comics. Not in itself. I think the technology in itself could do that. But regardless, Carson Grubaugh is a legit artist. He worked on the Life and Death of Alex Raymond comic book with Dave Sim. So he's a legit artist, and I think he's even a professor at some art school. So he's not. This isn't a guy just trying to make a quick buck. It's truly a guy experimenting with technology and art, which I'm a fan of. So interesting enough. But regardless, if that sounds something interesting to you, it'd be $26.25 for that. Cat-Eyed Boy, Perfect Edition, Volume 1 by Kazuo Umez. He's the artist that did, or the mangaka that did Drifting Classroom, and also Orochi is the other one that they've been printing in these perfect hardcover editions. This one's Cat-Eyed Boy, which is another horror manga, as you can see. judging from the cover there. It'll be $26.24 for that hardcover, and that'll be on sale next Monday. Star Seeds, Volume 3 hardcover. This is one of my picks of the week. I love this book. Charles Glabutz is the artist and writer on this. And this is Volume 3. This is some trippy, like out there cosmic adventure kind of stuff. It's put out by Fantagraphics. I have the first 2 volumes and loved them. It's crazy that like this is like a whole new cartoonist that does this really abstract style. But as you're reading it, you can see that he's evoking a lot of Jack Kirby in there, a lot of stuff from hold on a second. Sorry. A lot of Jack Kirby stuff. So if you're a fan of like Jim Starlin in the 70s or Jack Kirby, Cosmic Adventures, but you're wanting to see like some more like psychedelic underground art kind of thing, try this out. It'll be $26.24 for this hardcover, and this is volume 3. And like I said, let me know. I can check to see if the first 2 are in stock. I know that Fantagraphics recently reprinted those. All Tomorrow's Parties, the Velvet Underground story. This is by Humanoids. Oh, and Corin Shodney. Wow. Okay. Well, that's the that's the aforementioned cartoonist that I talked about doing the Twilight Man, the Rod Serling story. This is his new comic book, so I'm going to pick this up now because I love Corin Shodney's artwork and his storytelling. This is an exploration of the group the New York Times called arguably the most influential American rock band of our time. And then we've got Ironheart, the saga of Riri Williams. Trade paperback. This will be $23.99. Brian Michael Bendis and David Marquez on this. And this includes the first 14 issues of Invincible Iron Man. Oh boy. What's this? Oh, Crimson Rage. Sorry. No, you're fine. You're fine. But my name's Taylor. I don't know if that's a joke or not. Yes, Tyler. Sorry. It's Taylor Talks Comics, not Tyler. Then we have Naked Tree graphic novel. This is by who's this by? Drawn and Quarterly is the publisher for this. Kyum Suk Jindri Kim is the writer and artist on this. I love that cover. It's very dramatic looking with a wind up toy on there. It's $23.95. Critically acclaimed and award-winning cartoonist Kyum Suk Jindri Kim returns with a stunning addition to her body of graphic fiction. So this is an adaptation of Park Wan-soo's beloved novel. Okinawa graphic novel. This one is another by Fantagraphics, and this is a manga that I'm super interested in. This is by Susumi Higa, is the mangaka that does the writing and artwork. It's about a peaceful kingdom until its annexation by Japan in the 19th century. Okinawa was the site of the most destructive land battle of the Pacific War. Today, the archipelago is Japan's poorest prefecture, an unwilling host to 75% of all U.S. military bases. So coming out of the fallout of what we saw depicted in the recent movie Oppenheimer, Okinawa would be a interesting epilogue to read for historical purposes. $22.49 for that one. Convoy. This is by Magnetic Press. Kevin Stevens is the writer, and Jeff is the artist. It's 2074, and the Earth is in an abused ruin, a landscape of desolation thanks to the mankind's inability to live in moderation. Pockets of makeshift civilization are spread out like islands in a sea of wasted misery, a distance that only the craziest and most desperate madmen dared to traverse. It's kind of post-apocalyptic a little bit, but also maybe our real future. I don't know. That's kind of very dark and bleak, but I like it. It'll be Magnetic Press's $22.49 Convoy hardcover. Giant Days Library Edition Volume 1. So we have Boom Studios is putting out these library editions. They kickstarted a lot of them, but now they're putting them out to complete the series, because I think Giant Days was never completed in this format before. So we're getting all new covers, and they're reprinting it, I guess. This is John Allison's the writer, and Max Sarin and Lisa Tryman are the artists. $22.49, and this collects the first. Let's see how many issues are in this first one. It doesn't say. Oh, there it goes. The first 8 issues of the Eisner Award-winning and Harvey Award-nominated series. Witchblade, trade paperback. We already went over that one. In Search of Gil Scott Heron hardcover. This is by Titan Comics. And Thomas Mauceri is the writer, and Seb Piquet is the artist. $20.99 for this. Celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Discover the godfather of rap, singer, poet, writer, considered to be the godfather of rap, Gil Scott Heron, is a myth and legend of the Afro-American music scene. That has definitely piqued my interest. I love Hip Hop Family Tree by Ed Piskor, and I'd like to read this as like a companion to that. Rick and Morty presents Volume 5 trade paperback for $18.74, with writing by Ivan Cohen, and Puste is the artist. It includes Rick and Morty 100 and then a couple of the miniseries. Proof That the Devil Loves You hardcover. This is by Gilbert Hernandez of Love and Rockets fame. So I'll definitely be picking this up. I love Love and Rockets. But Gilbert Hernandez's story, this kind of spins out of that. But one of his characters is Fritz, and she's like an actor in a lot of B movies. So then Gilbert Hernandez does these like kind of these graphic novels that are her movies that she's acting in, which is really cool. It gets Gilbert Hernandez working with a lot of different genres and that kind of thing, genre fiction. But yeah, so it's a standalone graphic novel. Also includes the other graphic novels in the same series of those Fritz B movies are Chance in Hell, The Troublemakers, Garden of the Flesh, Maria M, and Hypno Twist Scarlet by Starlight. This one will be $18.74 if you order through CGN. Things in the Basement hardcover by Ben Hatke. This will be first, second books. He's the writer and artist on this. It'll be $18.39 for this one. Ben Hatke, that sounds familiar though. What else did he work on? I don't know. Let's read this description here. It was supposed to be just a normal basement, some storage boxes, dust, the usual basement stuff. But when Milo is sent by his mother to fetch a sock from the basement of the historic home they've moved into, he finds a door in the back that he's never seen before. Turns out the basement of this house is enormous. In fact, a whole world is down there. So it's like kind of like what's that? Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Those books. But Ben Hatke, what else did he work on? I feel like I've read something from him. Please oblige as I look this up. Mighty Jack and Zeta. Zeta the Space Girl. So my son reads a lot of these kids comics, and I feel like I've read a Ben Hatke story. Maybe not. Little Robot. I don't know. I'd have to look deeper into that, but I do like his artwork, though. The cover looks cool. Narnia. Yes, thank you. That's The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yes, the Narnia series is what I was thinking of. But maybe a different take on it. Maybe when he goes through that door, it's totally different than Narnia. Ones, Volume 1. This is the Brian Michael Bendis and Jacob Edgar series for Dark Horse Comics. Because Brian Michael Bendis does have his own imprint with Dark Horse. This will be $17.49 and includes the first part of the series. It doesn't say which issues, but it's pitched as oh wow, okay. Think Good Omens meets Ghostbusters meets the Atom Project meets the Goonies meets Everything Everywhere All at Once meets anything else you've ever liked. That's literally what it says. word for word. But I do love those kinds of like throw all these things into a blender, and that's the kind of comic you get. Beatrix Rose, Vigilante by Stephanie Phillips and Valeria Favaccia. Valeria, I apologize for butchering your name. This is by Dark Horse Comics, and it's a graphic novel for 1609, featuring characters from the million copy selling novels of USA Today, best-selling author Mark Dawson, and written by Harley Quinn writer Stephanie Phillips. Beatrix Rose, an assassin ripped from her old life, sapped working for the triads in Hong Kong, and forced to protect them when a killer starts to target her bosses. So it's an adaptation of some short stories, it seems like. Never Ending Party. This is from Dark Horse Comics. Joe Corallo and Rachel Pollack are the writers. Ava Cabrera is the artist. This has to be this is a posthumous release for Rachel Pollack. She sadly passed away earlier this year. I wonder if this is like an unfinished story that they're finishing. It was a Comixology only digital series, so it's been previously printed. Maybe it was printed on Comixology while Rachel Pollack was still with us. But this is the first time it's been in print, so it includes the first 5 issues. Interesting. This is a huge release. I cannot wait for this book as well. It's definitely one of my picks of the week. It's a huge Fantagraphics week this week. This is X amount of comics from Fantagraphics Underground imprint, the FU imprint. And Don Simpson is the writer and artist on this. So if you're not familiar with this, in 1993, Alan Moore, along with like Steve Bissette, Rick Veitch, Don Simpson, I believe, oh my gosh, drawing a blank here. Dave Gibbons, the artist on Watchmen, also worked on this, but it was a project called 1963, and it was where Alan Moore and all these artists put together a kind of a parody mock-up kind of thing of what Silver Age Marvel was like. And the idea was that it was all going to conclude, like they introduced all these new series in single issues, and then it was going to conclude in an annual called the 1963 Annual, and it's going to be where the 1963 characters then travel to 1993 and do battle with all the Image characters, because this is an Image series. And 1993 is when, Image got started in 92, but 93 is like really when they took off. So you're going to see like all the 1963 characters versus like Youngblood and versus Cyberforce and Spawn and whatnot. Jim Lee was going to be the artist on the annual, and Alan Moore is going to write it. But it happened to be 94 by that time, and Jim Lee took a 1-year sabbatical from drawing comics. And since then, Alan Moore lost interest in it. Jim Lee left for DC. And then also, a lot of the rights to those characters have been gone now. Like, Rob Liefeld doesn't even own the rights to the characters of Youngblood. So this project could never happen, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. The annual. So it went unfinished. But Don Simpson, and the rights were also muddled too, because like Alan Moore owned part of the characters, but then Steve Bissette and Rick Veitch owned the other part of the characters. So unless they collaborated together, it was never going to come out. And Alan Moore's no longer on speaking terms with Steve Bissette, so truly it was never going to happen. Don Simpson, though, who owns a piece of the pie, I guess, did this black and white 72-page climax no one ever asked for, it says, except for a lot of people asked for it, because 1963 was an amazing series. I love that comic book series. And so Don Simpson did his own, and you can see the artwork on the front cover there, but also has a bunch of behind the scenes stuff about Don Simpson working on the original series, but also working on this series. So this is a hardcover graphic novel. It's going to be $15.99. It's only about 100 pages, but it is oversized, and it's got an incredible weird corner of comics history that I love. And I can't now wait to read this. Like, it's a weird thing, but if you remember 1963 from Image, you'll definitely want to pick this up. And that'll be 20% off. Wonder Woman Black and Gold trade paperback. So this is previously released as a hardcover, but this is the Black and Gold anthology series and includes all 6 issues. We have creators in here from Mariko Tamaki, Tilly Walden, Becky Cloonan, Ryan Sook, as others. 40% off for that trade paperback. Batman Detective Comics Volume 5, The Joker War, for $14.99. Wildcats Volume 1, Better Living Through Violence. This is the relaunch of the Wildcats series by Matthew Rosenberg and Steven Segovia. But this includes all 6 issues from that relaunch series that was relaunched last year. Red Sonja Mother trade paperback for $14.99 from Dynamite Comics. Giuseppe Cafaro is the artist and Mirko Andolfo is the writer. And this includes the first 6 issues with a complete cover gallery, which is great because Dynamite does 1 million variant covers, so you're going to get all of them collected in there. Vampirella by Christopher Priest, Volume 3, Interstellar. I want to know how this is going because Christopher Priest is known for his long drawn out. He's like Jonathan Hickman. He has these long drawn out series and sagas of these characters he does, where it's really, you almost don't know what's happening in the first half of the story, but then he starts tying the threads together as the story goes on and progresses to the end, and it just blows your mind by the end. So it's interesting to see Christopher Priest working on that. And another Dynamite book, we have Deja Thoris. Dan Abnett and Sebastian Pires is the writer and artist on this. Volume 2, and includes issues 6 through 12. Lost Boy trade paperback. This is by Jay Martin and Frank Svetkovich by Scholastic. $13.99 for this. The comics debut of accomplished music video director Jay Martin in a beautiful and heartwarming tale of adversity and survival. In the aftermath of a deadly car accident in the remote Wyoming wilderness, a young boy escapes as a sole survivor, stranded, freezing, without anyone around him to help. He struggles to stay alive as he attempts to find his way back to civilization. All right. Interesting. Sonia Andolfo is good. Haven't read Vampirella. Thoris is awesome. Well, there you go. Lohit keeps up on a lot of the Dynamite comics, so there's his recommendations for you. Art Brut, Volume 1, Winking Woman hardcover. This was interesting. So this is by W. Maxwell Prince, who is the writer on all of Ice Cream Man, and artist Martin Morazzo, who I think is the artist on most, if not all, of Ice Cream Man as well. But this is an older series that they're revisiting. So it's a fantastically imaginative take on 60s adventure comics, but with their own special twist in a weird world of art galleries. It's been relettered and remastered. Trying to see. And includes all 4 issues. So it's been relettered and remastered and was also reprinted in single issues recently through Image. And I believe they're continuing the series. I think that's why it says Volume 1 here. But I think that's all the issues that they ever worked on before was those first 4. So any new material that comes out afterwards will be brand new material. Parasite, Color Correction. Color Collection. I'm sorry, not correction. Color Collection, Volume 3. So these hardcover. This is the manga Parasite that's been colored for the first time and being put in these beautiful hardcovers. Hitoshi Iwaki, I think is how you pronounce that, is the manga writer and artist. It's a horror manga, as you can imagine from that cover. And there will be 8 volumes. And the spines look really cool because each volume has a letter spelling out Parasite. So this is Volume 3, so this one will have R on the cover. So far, your card covers would say par. Archie Horror presents Chilling Adventures Anthology. So if you're into Archie Horror comics, this is the latest anthology that includes what does that mean? The creators on it includes various different stories, though. So each story within is a different comic book issue within the world of Archie Horror. Astronaut Down trade paperback. This is by Aftershock Comics. James Patrick is the writer, and Rubin is the artist. 1349 for this. Douglas Spitzer wants to be one of the astronauts selected for the crucial mission Pulitzer. And just like the astronauts like Buzz Aldrin and Sally Ride, Douglas is brave, adaptable, and self-sacrificing. He's one of the program's best candidates. But if he qualifies, Douglas won't be traveling through space. He'll be launched into alternate realities on desperate mission to save Earth from a horrific crisis that has our world on the brink of extinction. 128 pages, includes the entire story in there. I love that cover though. It's an amazing, amazing cover. Kaiju Score Volume 2, Steal from the Gods. This is Aftershock Comics. Rim Brew is the writer, and James Patrick is the artist. 1349, did I say that? It includes issues from the second arc, 1 through 4. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Recharged Volume 2. This is of the renumbering of the series. I don't want to say relaunch, because I don't think it's like a full reboot or anything. But Melissa Flores is the writer. Artist is Simona Di Gianfelice, and includes issues 103 through 106. I guess it's not renumbered then. It's just kind of the soft restart to it. Things in the Basement. So we had a hardcover earlier. This is the softcover version, and it'll be $11.99 for that version. Ordinary Gods, Volume 2, God Machine. This will be 20% off at $11.89 from Image Comics. This is by Kyle Higgins, and Felipe Watanabe is the writer. Does this have anything to do with Lowhead? You're in the chat. Does it have anything to do with Radiant Black? It includes Ordinary Gods 7 through 12. But it's by Kyle Higgins, and I feel like all of his Image stuff is tying together. What's the Furthest Place from Here? Volume 2. I can't wait to pick this up. I love Volume 1. Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss on this series. $10.49 for this, and includes issues 10 through 13. The first trade paperback was a little bit thicker because it included the first 9 issues, I think. I'm assuming it cleared to the first 9 issues. And there were even more padded out issues too. Like there are more than just 24 pages. But this will be the second volume, and I can't wait to pick this up. And then we're on our second page here. We don't often get second pages here. But there's a few more books. I think 4 more. Robin and Batman trade paperback. This is the trade paperback version of the previously released hardcover. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen on this series. The same duo that did Descender and Ascender. And it collects Robin and Batman 1 through 3. And I believe this is magazine sized, one of the magazine sized Black Label books. Star Wars, The High Republic, Phase 2, Volume 2, Battle for the Force. That'll be $9.59. Red Zone by AWA. Colin Bunn is the writer. Mike Diodato is the artist. All right, piqued my interest. This looks like a James Bond type story. Called in by the U.S. government for a secret international mission to Russia, unassuming American professor of Russian and Slavic studies at NYU, Randall Crane finds his history in the Soviet Union begin to thaw and reveal itself. So it's a professor being thrown into being a spy, it looks like. Godzilla, Monsters and Protectors, All Hail the King by IDW Publishing. Eric Berman is the writer, and Dan Schoening is the artist, and includes the entire series of this. Monsters and Protectors, All Hail the King. So it's Godzilla's been missing for a year, and teen vlogger Cedric desperately wants new content, but alien invaders and enemy kaiju may change his mind. So Godzilla comics are awesome. I know IDW is putting out the Godzilla library and these thick, affordable, standard size trade paperbacks. I'm excited about that. I'm assuming that will be in there eventually, because I think they're only collecting the IDW content of the Godzilla comics they came out with. They definitely won't be collecting the Marvel series, unfortunately. That's all tied up in rights issues because that included Marvel characters in it. No idea, but read Rogue Sun. Best Radiant title. I want to get Red Zone. Great artwork. Gojira! Yes. So, yeah, because I know Lohit read it, but this week, single issues, we don't sell those, but single issues, it'll eventually be collected. Godzilla series by Jake Smith is the artist on that. And the writer, who is the writer on that series? Someone fairly well known, I think. Let's see if I can beat Low Hit before he types it in the chat. Am I gonna beat him? Am I gonna beat him? Who writes the new series? I can't find it. Oh no. Low Hit's gonna beat me. Jake Smith's an incredible artist, though. Andrew McLean, who he did Headlopper. He's the writer on it. Jake Smith's the artist, and Jake Smith's artwork is amazing. Like, look up his Instagram if you want to check out his artwork, which I believe is, he has a funny Instagram name that's not his normal name. Dead Gremlin Comics. Dead_Gremlin_comics with an X. Check out his Instagram, and you can see his incredible artwork. It's Andrew McLean. I beat you. He's the one that did Headlopper, though, right? I think. So that's a really fun series. I can't wait to be collected because I'm going to pick that up. But I think I might pick up the single issues too, just because I love Jake Smith and his artwork, and I want to support him as an artist. He had a Kickstarter series called Blood Force Trauma, which I think is being collected in trade paperback that we have on pre-order. I think I saw, and I've been backing that since day one, every single issue. And the whole time I'm like, how has Image not picked up this guy as an artist, or picked up a series by this guy, or picked up this series, Blood Force Trauma? And it's finally being picked up. I think Dark Horse might be publishing it. I forget. I know. Well, his art, I mean, honestly, his art's his art's a show stealer. His art's the reason by that comic, in my opinion. I haven't read it yet, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but it definitely draws you in, his artwork, and makes you want to buy that comic. But he's just been one of those cartoonists that I've been following for a long time, and I was like, how is this guy not like super famous? Like, his artwork's so amazing and eye popping, and the colors are amazing. So I'm really happy for him to get a bigger series with IDW, with these licensed properties of Godzilla. Hopefully, then it lends into Jake Smith getting opportunities to do his own creator-owned stuff with whatever publisher decides to back up the Brinks truck he deserves. But that's all for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. The chat was great. I want to plug real quickly. Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at CheapGN. Facebook, search for Cheap Graphic Novels. All the books we talked about today will be on sale on our website, cheapgraphicnovels.com, on Monday evening. So be sure to look forward to that. And our weekly newsletter will be coming out on Mondays. So make sure to subscribe to that as well. Thank you guys for watching. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out, and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and keep reading comics.